Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Donovan Daniel, and I'm the Assistant Director of Admissions for Multicultural Recruitment here at IUP. Thank you for joining us for the third and final Facebook Live Diversity Series event we're hosting for the university. So far, we talked about investment and how we invest in our students, community, and how we build community for and with our students. And today, we're talking about outcome here in the KCAC, the Kovalchik Convention and Athletic Complex. It's a great place to end our Facebook Live series, as now this will serve as the bookend location for students starting and ending here at IUP. Our convocation was held here last August, and in a few weeks we'll be having graduation in this very building. Students will pack in here, and parents and supporters will pack in, so we can just celebrate the accomplishment of completing either an undergrad, a grad in the form of a master's, or a doctoral studies degree. And we're really excited to have that happening here. There's an excellent place where we're having our athletic events, and now our academic achievements are being celebrated here. Joining me today, I have a current student, I have two alumni, and I have you. And so I'm going to have them introduce themselves, and then as we're going on, introduce yourself as you join the feed. Go ahead and say what year you graduated and what your name is. So let's get started.
Hi, my name is Yeslian Hernandez, and I am a student here at IUP. I came to IUP through the Promising Scholars program, and I'm really excited to be here to share my story with you guys. And I'm a sociology major and Spanish minor. Well, my time here at IUP, I participated in the student organization, LASO, which is the Latino student organization here, and I also tutor English as a second language.
Awesome. And when are you going to be graduating?
I will be graduating in 2017.
Okay. All right. Walking in a few weeks. Gentlemen, introduce yourselves.
Hi, everyone. I'm Jerome Brown. I graduated in 1997, and I was a communications media major.
Okay.
And hi, everybody. My name is Hopeton Bailey. Graduated in May 2013 with my undergrad in biology with a minor in chemistry, and I received my master's degree in May 2015 with in biology.
Awesome. So let's introduce the audience a little bit more to you. Yesli talked about some of the student organizations she's a part of. Gentlemen, while you were here at IUP, what did you do? What did you involve yourself in?
While I was here at IUP, I ran track and played football. I finished my 4 years of track and field in 2012, and then I was a part of Alpha Chi Sigma, which is a chemistry fraternity in Wyant, and that was great. And now I'm currently a volunteer coach for the track and field team right now.
Awesome. And Jerome, how about yourself?
I worked at WIUP TV as well as served as a tutor for the Iker Writing Center.
Awesome. Okay. And Jerome, I think you said this before, but what year did you graduate?
1997.
1997.
Yes.
All right, awesome. So we have a nice diverse panel here, students who are getting ready to graduate and students who recently or somewhat recently graduated. Myself, I'm a 2009 graduate of IUP and a 2014 grad, so we all have that in common. So for those that are joining us, what year did you graduate? What major did you study? I'm curious to see that as we get ready with our conversation. So as I'm waiting for you to respond to that question, first question I'll ask you all panelists, what are some of the benefits of pursuing a college education? Speak on some of the general things that are accomplished by doing that.
One of the benefits of getting a college education is as you go right into a career other than a job. One of the other benefits of coming to college and getting a college education is networking. You get to meet people that you won't normally meet within your community for the most part, and that's some of the benefits.
One of the benefits I can think of right now would be a higher starting salary for depending on what job it is. In the federal government, we have a certain type of pay scale. So without a bachelor's degree, I think you're coming in at like maybe a GS5, something called like a GS5. Bachelor's degree, you would come in at a GS7.
Wow.
Master's degree, which is what I came in at with my master's from a different school, was a GS9. And so with each of those, the same position you'll be tied to a different starting salary.
Wow. Nice. Wow. So starting salary is definitely a big thing. Yes, so what do you think some of the benefits are? What have some of the benefits been for you?
Yeah, I would say you gain a lot of leadership skills. You become more confident with yourself, and you learn how to problem solve, which is such an amazing skill to have.
I'd say, definitely speaking to that, problem solving and financial benefit going into a career versus a job. I think one of the other things is you find yourself. Here at IUP, we talk about how you can find your success, but before you ever find your success, you got to find yourself. Who are you?
That's true.
I think the young man I came into IUP as is not the same person I am today, and so college serves as a nice time of formation. I think you learn who you are. You learn, in some respects, your political views. You learn your spiritual affiliations. You may learn what type of people you want in your life versus the type of people you want to avoid. And so I think you figure out who you are. Thinking about that, what are some of the benefits you've noticed in pursuing college, whether it's IUP or somewhere else? And we forgive you if it's somewhere else. But, in going to college, what are some of the benefits you experienced? Because I think it's really important to sell that for our future generation. A lot of students are thinking maybe they shouldn't pursue college. College is becoming very expensive now. And while we try our best at any university, I'm sure, to keep the cost of education down, the reality is it still rises every year. So knowing the benefits, I think, is a key to deciding, I'm going to take the plunge. I'm going to spend that money. I'm going to do it. So that's great. That's great. So we don't have any comments just yet to touch on. And so as you are thinking about some of the answers, again, name and major, or some of the benefits, I'll make sure I tie you in. So make sure you're reaching out to us. Panel, question for you, and anybody can answer this, right? What are some of the barriers to going to college or pursuing a college education? Why are people not doing it? We talked about the benefits, but what's stopping us from pursuing it, particularly the minority community? What's stopping minority students from pursuing a college education?
I think that quite possibly one of the barriers would be following the recession that we had almost 10 years ago, and around the time that people were graduating then, many of them may not have gotten a job right out of college. So then there's that fear of maybe obtaining a lower paying job and being weighed down by possible student loans as well. So there may be still that concern.
Yeah, I definitely say so. What else? I mean, the recession, everybody argues about when it ended, when it didn't end. But certainly we're not necessarily in the same place we were almost 10 years ago now. And so what are some of the other barriers, particularly for the minority community? What's stopping us from pursuing higher education?
I think it's also the fear, like Jerome said, is the money portion of it. And also it has to do with, like, you have a lot of students now, or previous students that have graduated, that have said that sometimes it's not worth it to go to college, and we also live in a generation now where it's a microwave society, so some people can instantly make something out of themselves, go on Instagram, make a profile, sell makeup here, sell makeup there, and it works for some people, not for everybody. But I think we see one of the things is, as I said, it's the fear of student loans, and they want to hurry the process of them taking your time.
I think that's similar to fitness. I studied exercise science while I was here at IUP, and Hope, I know you're really big into personal fitness and health. Seeing the benefits of that, it's not always immediate. No. When you're in the gym, they talk about that, like that next day swole that you get, and the muscles are bulging that next day, but that's going to go away.
Oh, sure.
As far as true body composition change or health benefit change, blood pressure, fasting glucose levels and all that, it's really seeing that change. It takes consistency, it takes intentionality, it takes getting past that thought of, I don't see it, am I accomplishing anything? And so I think similar to that with college education, while you're seeing the student loans, and you may even see that bill for the student loans before you get that first job, right? I mean, 6 months after, right? You see it. But knowing that overall, those benefits are going to come.
Yeah, for sure.
They're definitely going to come. I think the other big part of this is do you believe that
Yes.
you can do it?
Yeah.
I mean, tell me about that, Yesli.
As I'll speak at a more personal level, as for me, I learned English as a second language, and it was very difficult, and I wasn't too sure if I was going to be at the level that other college students would be. So there was just this doubt in me. Am I good enough? And again, with the finances, let alone I can't afford it, so why go? I'm not good enough. So.
Wow. So just seeing value in
Yes.
yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Was that similar for you too? I mean,
Yeah.
do you feel like there was a struggle as far as feeling value in yourself?
Yes, I would agree.
Yeah,
Okay.
for sure.
So how does one overcome that? I mean, if you don't think you're worth much, really, are the words and motivation of others going to be enough? Like what was it that told you, what, that's not the case anymore?
As for me, I began to see myself how others saw me. Others saw potential in me, and although the English language was a barrier, people said, you can do it. And then I began to say, you know what, I'm going to give myself the chance to try it out, to apply to college, and go on and show that, yes, I'm Latina, but I can go way above and beyond than just, being confined to just these stereotypes that we're surrounded by.
Right.
Absolutely. I think it's awesome that you didn't let that stop you, and
Yeah.
quite frankly, I think it's an asset
Yeah.
that your primary language is Spanish. The reality is our country's demographics are dramatically changing, and that will prove to be as much of a benefit going forward as you may have perceived it to be a detriment in the past. So I think it's awesome that you're Latina. I'm half Puerto Rican, so I can appreciate that from multiple perspectives. So, for you all, how did you overcome that? How did you start to see yourselves differently?
For me personally, I have my baby sister, and we're 12 years apart, and so
Literally your baby sister?
Yeah, so that was my motivation, and then also I'm from Jamaica, so my mom forced me, and not forced me, but instilled those values in me that make something out of yourself.
Yes.
So I had a great support system, and my mom and my sister was a motivation for me to go forth and pursue a degree and make something out of myself. So that was my motivation.
Awesome.
And I would have something somewhat similar. My parents were educators. My mom's a retired college professor from Slippery Rock University.
Okay. Nice.
So she obviously instilled that within me. I don't think there was any other option but college for me.
Wow. So hearing your answers, just so I can make sure I distill this for the audience, Yesli, I heard you saying that you didn't feel like you were enough, and that you're, not knowing the English language to the level of fluency you would like, or maybe that others would like, was partly a detriment. You felt like, I'm not good enough. Hoped, you said you struggled with that, but knowing that people were coming after you,
Yes.
and that you couldn't afford to basically fall into a shell, but you had to show and deliver because you were inspiring other people, or having the expectations of a mother who's an educator and saying, we're educated in this family, and we're going to demonstrate that by pursuing a college education. I think that's really great. And so the motivation of others for Yesli, the motivation to inspire others for Hopeton, and the expectations of a mother. It's funny, we talked about that. I got an amen from Hopeton. We talked about that in the first video, about how all of us chose to invest in college, whether it was Dr. Malika Turner or Kiani Lozada, our comments person on the first video, or Zach Seva, who works in the Career and Professional Development Center. We talked about how the influence of a parent was key. What's difficult, though, when I think about this population that we're talking about, when I'm thinking about underrepresented students in higher education, one of the barriers that we didn't talk about earlier was that a lot of them are first-generation students.
Yes.
So they didn't have the college educator for a parent. They may have had the plumber or the electrician, and there's nothing wrong with that. They may have had the chef or the bus driver, the mechanic. But the reality is those people had value, and there was something that they're putting in their students because they're coming to college. We're seeing students enrolling. But how do students overcome that maybe feeling of lack of worth or the lack of motivation when their parents haven't been college educated? How do first-generation students do it?
Possibly through maybe having current students from IUP reach out to the prospective students.
For sure.
if you can identify them,
Yeah.
and just having those types of discussions, because it's quite possible that the current students can relate, and let the prospective students know, here's how I got through that barrier that you're feeling,
So
that you're coming across.
Here's what's funny, Jerome. You and I didn't talk about it. We talked before this conference here, but you and I didn't talk about this. But after I leave here, I'm actually going to be going to my office, and some of our Board of Governors recipients, some of the promising scholar students like Yesley, will be making calls or doing some telecounseling to prospective students. I just think it's funny that the first thing that we thought of was something we're doing. So that's really awesome. And any other thoughts? How do first-generation students find the motivation? Where can they go so that they can achieve the outcomes that they have set out for themselves, even though they don't have anybody before them that's done it?
For me personally, my core friends that I have now were a great support system as well. I'm very competitive, so I use that as a drive, and all my best friends from elementary school are now my best friends till this day. So we all went to college and got our degree, and we all pushed each other, even though we went to different colleges. We all achieved a goal, and I think if you surround myself with those people was great for me, just so you can on a peer level,
Okay. Yesley, how about yourself? I think you just to kind of speak this over yourself, you have been a mentor for other students, and you've had the opportunity to pour into students. So maybe share some of the ways in which you've done it.
Yeah, again, mentoring is essential, and it's really important whenever individuals feel like there's someone that cares about them. There's like a power in that, and they begin to see themselves like someone who is valuable. So when you mentor, teachers also have this power. That is why I want to go into a teaching fellowship, because I want to give back to my community what has been given to me. I also had a lot of amazing mentors that I still continue to keep in touch with, because there's this power of feeling that you're supported and valuable.
Awesome. And for you in the audience, what are some of the things that motivated you? If you have received your college degree already, what motivated you to keep going? What barriers did you have to overcome? I'd love to hear that, so by all means, make sure you put that in the comments. And if you have any questions about anything we're saying or anything you want to chime in on the conversation, let us know through the comments as well. We would love to connect with you. I think that it is crucial that we have mentorship. I think it's crucial that students also get involved. So, Yesley, you mentioned Lasso. Hopton, you were actually coming from something that you were involved in. Tell me where you were coming from before you came here today.
I was actually at a track and field. There's a home meet at IUP now. This is our track meet every year that we have a home meet. So I was there with some of my sprinters and talking to them and trying to motivate them right before the 100. So, but it's great to be here with you guys and having this discussion.
Awesome. And Jerome, what are some of the things you were involved in? You mentioned the Writing Center. Not too many people were trying to be at the Writing Center working. So tell me what that experience was like, and how you maybe helped other students as they were pursuing their education.
It was a great opportunity. I was in an English class during my freshman year, and we took a tour of the Writing Center so we could find out how to use it as we're writing our papers. And my English teacher thought that I didn't think so, but my English teacher thought that my writing was, I guess, good enough to recommend me for an opening slot in as a tutor there. So that's how I got involved with that.
Awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. And Yesley, you mentioned Lasso. Tell a little bit more about what Lasso is and how it helps our Latino students here at IUP.
LASA provides a community for the Latino students here. We also spread Latino cultural awareness, and we let people know about our culture, and that's just very rewarding, because when people learn about your culture, they begin to see yourself differently, because usually when people encounter you, they have these thoughts about who you are just because of your characteristics. So, letting people know that Latino culture, we're very diverse. So it's just really, really awesome.
Awesome. And Hope, one of the things that we have in common, other than going to one of the best high schools in Philadelphia, and playing for one of the best football teams in Philadelphia still, no, one of the other things we had in common is that we attended the same place of worship while here at IUP. Tell me about what that experience was like, being able to pursue that while also pursuing your college education.
That was great for me. Finding my spiritual self at IUP was one of the best things that ever happened to me, and that's where I also found a mentor in Dr. Briscoe and Mother Briscoe and PJ as well. And then it brought us back together after high school. So that was great, and just being around like-minded individuals. Everybody, you're in the same boat. Everybody's in college, going through the struggles of college, and it was great just going there, fellowship and worshiping with each other, and sharing what's going on, and they share what they're going on with them, and like the Bible says, iron sharpens iron. So nice to be around each other, like-minded individuals.
And that's really cool. I love how you used your very familiar and warm name towards Dr. Melvin Jenkins.
Oh, for those, sorry.
You're good. You're good. No, that's what we call him. I call him PJ too. But for those who don't know, Dr. Melvin Jenkins, he's a department chair over in Developmental Studies office here at IUP, and has been here for the greater part of 25, almost 30 years actually, and has done ministry with the students. And what's interesting about Victory Christian Assembly is that I'd say probably 95% of its members are college students. So when we talk about like a college ministry, that's exactly what this is, right? I mean, college students are going there, and certainly it's not the only opportunity on campus. We have an interfaith council that provides students the opportunity to get spiritual support, whatever their faith tradition is. Hopeton just happen to be in a Christian setting, but we have opportunities for all students to pursue, and so that's really cool to be able to have that. I think that's a key part to one's pursuing and subsequently accomplishing their outcomes, is that spiritual formation. When I'm at my lowest point, my relationship with God is what's keep getting me through, and for other people it may be other things, but that's one of the things that gets me through. So it's cool to hear about that. So one of the other questions that we really wanted to cover here is, how have you experienced IUP maybe putting resources towards the group you belong to? How have you seen investment in yourself? We talked about this early on in the series, and I really just want to revisit that. How did you feel invested in by IUP, while you were here, or while you are here, right? So talk about that with me some.
As for me, I said that I came through the Promising Scholars programs, the Board of Governors.
What's the Promising Scholars program?
It is a program that, we get a scholarship from, and we also get a lot of support from the people at admissions, and it's really, really awesome.
Awesome. And so, not to put your award on blast, but what was the impact of your scholarship? Would you have been able to come to college if it was not for the scholarship?
No.
Okay.
No. While in high school, I was awarded a half tuition scholarship, and with that, I kept telling myself I couldn't afford college. So I spoke with Mr. Jones, and I asked him, what can I do to get, my award to be higher? And he told me, get me a 3.0 your first semester, and then we'll talk about it. And I said in my head, no, I'm not going to get you a 3.0. I'm going to get you a 4.0. So I did, and the next semester I came here through a full tuition scholarship.
Okay, that's exciting. So you were able to accomplish that. You were able to get your award increased. And so how have you all been invested in? I mean, other than Yesley talking about her higher award, how have you been invested?
I've been invested in financially and also time-wise. I was a dual scholar athlete for track and field and football. And then when I was doing my graduate program, I had a mini assistantship. So that's the financial aspect of things. As far as the time that was given to me, my coaches, Michelle Berger Duncan, and Coach Duncan has really invested time in me, and my teachers, especially in Wyatt, because that's like my second home, being a science major. So the professors there are very, very, very loving. They give you their time, and they'll invest that in you. Awesome. So that was great.
And Jerome, you talked about how you are a defense analyst now, and doing auditing for the military. What was the next step after that, though? Because I don't want to get people to think, okay, it was IUP and then this amazing job, right? So what did IUP specifically prepare you for next when you left?
for corporate communications type positions.
Okay.
And so that's what I did for a few years before going on to graduate school.
Awesome.
And then it was in graduate school that I obtained this other toolbox.
Yeah.
And was recruited by this government agency.
That's exciting.
And went from there. But I think I can still give credit to IUP.
Yeah, absolutely.
During that period in between finishing up at IUP and getting into graduate school.
Okay, all right. And Hopton, before I go to Yesley, because I was actually about to ask Yesley a question, but Hopton, before I go there, a little birdie told me that you're actually considering more schooling?
Yes, I am.
Tell me about that.
I was talking to one of my mentors, and I made the decision to apply into the doctoral program here at IUP. So that would be
Which
my
one?
next step. It's Administrative Leadership Program.
Okay.
It's one of the programs that was I was really struggling with because I wasn't sure if I wanted to. I was like in a crossroad in my life, but due to life circumstances, I decided to pursue my doctorate degree, and I'm excited about that. I'm actually really excited.
So what are you going to be doing with your doctorate? Like, what's the goal? What's the desired outcome?
My desired outcome is to give back to my community, like Yesenia said, just to go back and let them know that if I can do it, you can do it too. And also, one of my dreams is to open a nonprofit for underprivileged individuals.
Okay.
And so that's one of my main focus.
Awesome. And Yesley, you're going into teaching. That was where I was kind of venturing. Because you're going into teaching, what's one of the goals that you have in teaching your students? What are you trying to get across to them over the next few years as you're doing this in Philadelphia?
I want to teach them that things are possible. You know, we come from a community that we face a lot of things that prevent us from seeing ourselves in the future. So I want them to see that they can be hardworking and they can be genuine, and with that, they can get through as many obstacles as they face.
Okay, I love that. I think IUP is in a great place to be able to help, students of color. We have seen graduation rates that have been above the national average. I am excited with, Yesley mentioned several times the Board of Governors program.
Yes.
I'm excited about the fact that with the Board of Governors, we're offering over $300,000 in certain years for scholarships for students like Yesley to be able to pursue their education. This year alone, we've awarded, I believe, over 45 students so far, scholarships ranging from $2,000 to $8,000. And all the state-owned institutions have this money, so it's not something that IUP is doing by itself. I mean, certainly all of the PASHE schools have access to Board of Governors funds, but I love the fact that we're specifically leveraging them to help out with underrepresented students. So that $300,000 is going towards students who would not be able to do education otherwise. And not just that, Yesley's story, certainly we can't take credit for Yesley's story. Like you are you, right? Your success is because of hard work and because of the decisions you've made. But what I love is that the retention rate for the Promising Scholars Program is remarkably high. I was just doing some research today on the IUP website in regards to what the 2-year retention rate is for students, and we're seeing that somewhere around the high 60%, 69%, somewhere upwards to 75%, depending on the year that we look at, is our retention rate for 2 years. But when you start to go into graduation rates after 4, we're looking at around 22.5% nationally as students who graduate in 4 years from a 4-year institution. You go, wait a minute, how are we going from 70, 75%, depending on what institution you're looking at, IUP specifically, and then we're dropping all the way down nationally to 22.5%. How is that happening? And so clearly there's some barriers that are taking place after a student gets here. It's not just, do I have the language, or do I have the right stuff? It's not just, maybe lacking people in their family that have gone to college. But there's got to be something that when they're getting to school is dramatically impacting the success of minority students. And what I love about the scholarship is, in the last 2 years, we've seen 66% of our students graduate on time in 4 years from the program. Yesley graduating early, so that's going to raise our numbers that much. But we're seeing that students are having success in this program, and this program is not the only way in which a minority student can have success. So I'm just really excited about that. As you're tuning in, we definitely don't want to lose you here. if you experienced any kind of success here at IUP that wasn't part of the norm, it wasn't just getting a job, or it wasn't just I have a diploma, I'd love to hear about that. You know, what other things were accomplished? Hopton, you talked about how you found yourself spiritually here, and Yesley, you talked about how you overcame adversity. So what are some of the ways in which you've experienced your outcomes that you looked for or weren't looking for, and they surprised you just as much as they surprised most students that experience it? I'd love to hear that in the comments. So by all means, definitely jump in. Some lasting thoughts, because we don't want to talk forever here, right? We could really be talking about outcomes for a long time. It's such a big topic, such a general topic. But what are some of the lasting thoughts you want to leave those who are tuning in, those who will watch later, about your story or about IUP in general? I'll let anybody take that one.
For me personally, I strive to let individuals know if I can do it, you can do it as well. I came from underprivileged. If you look at where I came from, you'll be surprised that I made it this far. But if I can do it, you can do it too. IUP has the resources. IUP has the fellowshipping with each other. It's just a great place. I just love this place. I can't get enough of it. That's why I'm doing my doctoral program here. So it's a great place for me personally.
Awesome. What about yourself, Yesley?
I would say that it is not an easy journey. It's going to be very difficult. But if you're here at IUP, you'll find so many great individuals that are willing to invest in you. They're willing to go above and beyond. Professors, the admissions staff, everyone here is just great. They want to invest in you. They want to see you go further, not just stay here at IUP, but go somewhere, do something, make a difference.
Wow. And Jerome, as a member of the Alumni Board, you know, not only do I want you to share some lasting thoughts, but also maybe talk a little bit about how students can connect after graduation.
Yes.
So share that.
Well, I'm just amazed at the caliber of alumni that we produce. IUP may not be as well known across the country as some of the you turn on TV and you hear about some other universities, but we do have amazing alumni and doing just incredible things. And this weekend we have the Distinguished Alumni Awards Gala, and I've had an opportunity to meet some alumni from my communications media background, and it's just very inspiring and amazing.
It's actually the highest award the Alumni Association provides, if I'm not mistaken, that Distinguished Alumni Award.
I think so.
And we have 7 people being awarded this year. We'll actually share some of that information in the comments after the video is over. But 7 people being awarded with that, and in a postcard we sent out to students who were admitted, who also identified as underrepresented. We also featured one of our young distinguished alumni, Janae Tonsel, and how she's working for Comedy Central now as a project manager. We also featured another student who is working for Discovery Channel, and so it's really, or alumnus rather. So it's really great seeing some of the stories of our alumni, and not just that, but seeing some of the stories of our current students. I'm just really excited about some of the things that are happening here on campus. We just had our research week, and one of our scholars, Kiera Estes, won a research presentation. Just yesterday we sent students to compete in a debate competition at East Stroudsburg. So I just love some of the stories that we're hearing, and one that maybe you all don't know about, but Marcellus C. Taylor, he's a good friend of mine, came back to campus to speak at our MVP dinner, our Minority Visit Program dinner, a few weeks back. But he's currently in a doctoral program here at IUP, the Curriculum and Instructions program, and he's also running for district judge in Harrisburg.
Wow. Nice.
If he wins, he'd be one of the youngest district judges in the state of Pennsylvania. Black male, 26 years old, and could potentially be a district judge for the Uptown and Middletown sections of Harrisburg.
Nice.
So our alumni are doing some great things. Our current students are doing some great things. If you decide to come to IUP, you can do some great things. And I got to say this because I definitely don't want to miss the people in the comments. So I think this was for you, Hope. But Sean McGill was saying the Administration and Leadership PhD program is a great program. So if you haven't decided yet, I think he's trying to sway you.
Thank you.
So Sean, thank you for the recommendation. And if there's anything else you want to share about that program or anything about IUP, continue to share it in the comments, because the conversation is going to continue even after we end the live feed, which we're about to do now. But thank you so much for giving us your time and your listening ear. And if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. We'll all be checking in the next couple of days. And if there's anything you want to address to a specific cast member, we'll love to answer it and connect with you. So have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon.